Just live on YouTube. It is marvelous. Tweet this out. Right, everyone ready?
Yep.
Cool. Right. Welcome everyone to another episode of the Out of Nowhere podcast. I believe episode 35 now. Jesus Christ, this is chugging along at some rate. I'm Oliver James, and with me today on this rather small podcast, it is Russ Poynton.
Hello.
And Chelsea Edgerton.
Hey.
Only the three of us this week after the monstrous 4 or 5 we've been getting these past couple of weeks.
Well, we're Allenless.
Quality or quantity?
There's a slight shot at the Allen brothers there.
It's either going to go tits up or it's going to be the best one we've ever done.
I don't think any of us are drinking tonight, so unless you, I'm being
directly impacted what we do.
So again, if this is the first time you're listening and tuning in, this is a wrestling podcast with the three of us, occasionally two brothers called Alan, who like to invade every now and then, and we just kick back and discuss the latest goings on in Raw this week and anything else going in the WWE. This week it's Raw and also end last night's NXT TakeOver The End, which was, why I say briefly, a fucking fantastic show yet again from the NXT people. But let's get off onto Raw. So this week's Raw had a few highlights. I think it was quite an okay-ish show. It was better than last week's. Not quite as good as the one we've had the past couple of weeks, but still fairly entertaining of what we got. Thoughts and opinions on Raw this week?
Some good promos, some not so good promos, and some good matches. I do kind of wish they'd keep everyone in the Money in the Bank apart a bit more. But other than that, I thought it was a solid show. Not sure what you think, Chelsea, but the opening segment, we might as well kick off there. It was a bit weird.
Yeah. Just for starters, why would they all be just sat on top of ladders? It's like they're in a musical or something like that.
The West Side Story opening, everyone's on top of ladders with spotlights on them.
To be fair, the only one that pulled it off was Jericho. Could I just say that sat on top of the ladder with his legs crossed, everything he does at the minute is just perfect.
And him defending the fact that he obviously won the match that he created, and everyone you just sat there like, no, you fucking haven't.
That rescued the segment for me.
So yeah, let's get into it. Our first topic of the day will be the Money in the Bank matches and segments, and the overall feeling of tonight's show was kind of around the Money in the Bank match. We had the opening segment, as we've alluded to, which saw the surprise return of Teddy Long tonight and all his shenanigans that carried on through the show. I didn't quite realise he was still on the payroll. And then that got us onto 3 quite spectacular little matches: Cesaro versus Jericho, Del Rio versus Zayn, and Ambrose versus Owens. Which match, Chelsea, did you think was your highlight of the week?
Sami Zayn versus Alberto Del Rio was really good. I can't really remember much of the match at the moment, but I just remember that those two had really good chemistry. Like, I never thought for a second that out of the 3 of the matches that would have been my favourite. But no, I really enjoyed that match. Compared to Cesaro Jericho, I don't think that was as good as I was expecting it to be.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think the two characters of Del Rio and Zayn play off each other quite well. Now Del Rio seems to be going back to his arrogant Hispanic rich guy routine.
Yeah.
Plays quite well with Zayn's sort of plucky underdog style. So I think that helped the match a lot now. They seem to be reverting Del Rio back to what I think was his best form in WWE.
Well, he's dating Paige, so he's improving somewhere. But we just have to get those digs in or else I'll never be forgiven.
Well, you'll be able to catch up on that on the, I'm sure, next season series of Total Divas.
Right, I've already finished what's on the network.
But that, I'm sure that came out on the network literally 48 hours ago, didn't it? Like, how have you gone through it already?
Well, it's not a full season, it's only half a season. And they're only 40 minutes long, and when you start watching one, you lose it's like 3 in the morning before you know it. And
Chelsea, in the past week, how much Total Divas have you actually watched?
It's not that many. It's 11 or 13, I can't quite remember.
I'd be permanently vegetated if I watched that much Total Divas.
But I don't know. But all I want to say is, Mandy from Tough Enough she's best friends with Eva, and that's going as well as you can expect it. But you know how Eva was on the face team at WrestleMania? Well, now on Total Divas, everybody loves her. Like, she is everybody's best friend now, and I don't get it. Don't get it. They're all sat backstage and they're commenting on how good she is in NXT. And
are they watching a different NXT to we are?
It's almost as if it was scripted to try and put these characters over in the ring.
That's not working though, is it? But no, all I can say about it is I watched 13 episodes that contain Daniel Bryan, and it's healing that hole in my heart very slowly.
He's gone full hippie mode, hasn't he? Eating fruit off trees and...
Oh man, it's so weird seeing him with because he had it was before he cut all his hair off before he retired, so it's still really long, and he's just in his garden with his wheelbarrow, and Bree's there on her little moped to save the world. That's so cute.
Jesus Christ. How do we go from Money in the Bank to fucking Total Divas once again?
We're obviously super excited for the upcoming match.
To get back to Money in the Bank somehow, I think I prefer Cesaro versus Jericho actually over Del Rio versus Zayn. I understand, I get it, Del Rio and Zayn did seem to really kind of mesh well, and they showed that the two obviously can work a good match together, but I think out of the three of them, I think I prefer Cesaro over Jericho, just because I consider it a surprise that Cesaro actually not just beat Jericho, but made him tap out. I mean, that's not something we see often.
Well, a question I was going to ask is, what do you guys think about half of the people in the Money in the Bank ladder match losing clean to the other half of them, only a couple of weeks before the show's supposed to be going on?
Going back to what you said, Russ, they need to be kept separate, because when they are getting I can't even remember who won what matches. I think didn't Del Rio beat Sami Zayn.
It was Cesaro, Del Rio, and Ambrose, I think.
Yeah, that to me just screams that I still don't know who's gonna win, and even just taking into the matches into account, because usually if they win before, they don't usually win at the event, do they?
I could go. I don't know.
I don't know anymore.
I think this is the first time in a Money in the Bank match where you could actually argue for any one of the 6 people. I mean, in previous Money in the Bank matches, when you've seen the likes of Kalisto and Sin Cara in it, you're they're never walking away with the victory.
Well, Zack Ryder is just the perfect example of that.
But in this Money in the Bank match, it's any one of them you could argue could walk away from it. I mean, there's an argument for Jericho, there's an argument for Cesaro, Del Rio, Zayn, Ambrose, Owens. I don't know. It's the first time into a Money in the Bank match where there isn't really a standout. They're gonna win it. I think that's great. I don't think we've had a Money in the Bank match potentially, but this strongly.
Yeah, this is definitely the highest quality on paper that they've put together.
I think just another match with Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn and ladders involved. That just speaks for itself on how good it's going to be, I think. But I don't know. I think anybody out of who's in it, I would take winning except for Del Rio, and I think that's just because I just don't like him. But it'd be Sheamus all over again, wouldn't it?
But it's interesting with Del Rio because he obviously came back to WWE, and I'm assuming they made promises as to the position he'd hold within the roster, but I can't see him being happy on the mid card where he currently is.
Yeah, that's true.
I don't for a minute think he should be the one that wins it, but I can't see him behind the scenes being happy with where he is at the minute.
Especially with the amount of money they brought him back for and where he was prior.
There's got to be a title promise somewhere, hasn't there?
and he probably couldn't be further from that title.
Or at least main event appearances, even if he's not winning them.
Oh, I don't. I'm starting to get worried now.
I think I definitely would take a Jericho victory over Del Rio victory. Because I think Jericho could be comedy gold with that briefcase.
Oh my god. That would be like. I want Kevin Owens to win because I have loads of things in my head that I could just see him doing, like hitting it, just like coming out and hitting Michael Cole over the head with it. It's just one of the many things that I've thought about him doing with it. But no, Jericho is definitely another one that would be awesome, especially that with this heel persona that he's in at the moment.
One thing that I can get a storyline that kind of writes itself out of these 6 is if Sami Zayn were to win it, and we only get Sami Zayn wins it, and they only do one world title, and they split Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens on different shows. Or if, say Kevin Owens is on Raw, Sami Zayn is on SmackDown, during a Raw post-match, say the heel champion at the time gets beaten down, then you just hear Sami Zayn's music blasting over Raw, which will be, oh my god, it's Sami Zayn on Raw, comes out of the briefcase, and thinking, holy shit, it's going to do it, it's going to do it. He cashes in the briefcase, and then Kevin Owens comes running out and beats over Sami Zayn as he's about to cash in the briefcase, and loses the briefcase.
Oh my god.
And
that's like Sandow all over again.
Yeah,
but
you can't.
It makes sense because it's Kevin Owens and Sami Zayn, and it's what Kevin Owens would do if Sami Zayn won the briefcase and never tried to attempt to cash it in. And then you pick up their feud again after giving them 4 or 5 months in separate brands. You can just right back into it again for Survivor Series, Rumble, and Mania.
That would be that I would be so down for that. As much as I'd be disappointed that they would have wasted the Money in the Bank this year and not given it to.
But I don't think it'll be a waste because they're using it in a way that's probably not. It's been used to feud a blood feud, as it were. Like it just adds even more to Zayn and Owens. Because they've not had a lot to go off in the WWE. We know they've got 10 years of history, but in the WWE, there's not any WWE history, as it were, between the two.
I guess there's always a storyline that they could run that maybe before he cashes it in, so say his music hits, he runs down to the ring, and then we get a pop from Kevin Owens, and he just keeps interrupting him.
Like Dean Ambrose and Seth Rollins.
Yeah.
Well, on that point, I think another one who you could possibly see winning it is Dean Ambrose, because it would write into the triple threat Shield angle with Reigns and Rollins going for the title currently. So there is that angle as well to consider.
I think if you had to, I think Ambrose is probably the slight favourite just because of that. Not by a lot of percentage, but by like a minimal amount. He's probably the favourite due to the Rollins and Reigns feud at the moment.
Yeah, if I had to put money on it, it would go to Dean Ambrose. And then, like you say, yeah, that would set up SummerSlam perfectly, wouldn't it?
The Shield triple threat we've all been asking for.
Yes, please.
Well, before we move on to the WWE title match, quickly, do we think there should be a 7th man? Because it's still up there, the black shadow on the screen of the WWE.com. Whenever you see the Money in the Bank match, there's always that 7th figure. So, do we want it? Is it necessary?
I would love it to be a surprise entry right up until the actual pay-per-view itself. I know surprise entries traditionally in the WWE have been shite, but it would be great if they got this one right. I think we all know what we mean as well. We'll get onto the NXT show later, but if that music dropped at Money in the Bank and he was the 7th entry, like Chelsea especially, like your head had just burst, wouldn't it?
If Finn?
Yeah.
See, I can't even comprehend that now. Yeah, if Finn just showed up, I don't know what I would do.
I think what'll make it even better for you is he turns up, competes in the match, and a way of him winning it is if Gallows and Anderson made sure he won it. And then he got
we can't have Finn debut and walk away with the Money in the Bank and me still breathing.
I think for me, if there is a 7th man, it goes to one of the 2 returning WWE superstars in Orton or Wyatt.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah,
that's probably more realistic.
Their returns are looming at present, and
well, Wyatt's scheduled to be doing something recently, isn't he, or very soon?
He's been teasing it. He's definitely been teasing it on the old Twitter with their sister Abigail photos.
So I think I read somewhere that he's booked into a house show to appear in a fatal 4-way very, very soon before he comes back onto live TV.
It'll be interesting if that's how he makes his appearance. Just at the end of it, the lights go down, you hear the wah wah, and there it is.
I think out of the two, I think with this whole Sister Abigail stuff that is going around with Bray Wyatt, I think for him to return, he's got that kind of set up for him. But I think when Randy Orton comes back, he doesn't have anything. I can't really see him fitting in anywhere. So I think putting him in that Money in the Bank match and then costing someone it or getting a feud from there is probably the way it's going to go.
It's interesting, isn't it? Like, Randy Orton's not been around for quite a while now, and suffice to say, you've not really missed him like we've missed John Cena or we missed Seth Rollins. Randy Orton's just... He feels superfluous at this point, which is a really bad thing to say because he's such a talented guy and he's such a big kind of part of the WWE. But he's just not feel needed at the moment.
If you think about where he was before he left, he was opening pay-per-views with Sheamus every single pay-per-view. From what I remember, there was about 4 pay-per-views in a row where him and Sheamus was the opening match. When that's your position on the card, you're not really going to be heavily missed.
Randy Orton's theme music is still one of the best. It's still one of my favourites. So when that hits, I will be happy. But like you said, I haven't missed him at all, and I think I'll be glad to see him come back. But then, yeah, after he's had like 2 matches against Sheamus, I couldn't care less again.
I think once the brand split comes around, we will be missing a talent like Orton's to help out either brand. But just at present, in the past couple of months, it's been like, you enjoy taking time off, Randy. We're doing good. Well, let's move on to the WWE title picture. So this week, WWE took a bit of a different turn in terms of hyping the title picture. There was no kind of real in-ring promos or presence from either competitor. Instead, we got 2 video packages, one from Rollins' perspective, one from Roman Reigns' perspective. Out of the 2, Chelsea, which one was your favourite?
Seth. No question about it. I liked how they were using some of the segments from his like WWE 24.
It was like an abbreviated version of it, wasn't it?
Yeah, and I don't see how they can air that show and still have him heel. Like it's crazy. I mean, it was either an article or something, just a comment on Reddit or something like that. But they said like kids who have watched that WWE like 24, they now absolutely adore Seth Rollins and think he's the best person ever. And that 24 was pretty much him just being John Cena. And for them to bring him back and have him heel is just...
And then to basically air like a 4-minute version of WWE 24. And
right.
Like, boo this guy! No!
It's not going to happen. I mean, he does a really good job of trying to turn them around. But it's like Kevin Owens at this point now. Like, no matter how hard he tries, you are still going to be popping for his music.
I mean, especially when you go onto his Twitter feed and he's retweeting pictures of people done of him as CrossFit Jesus and as his nickname is at the moment in time. But it's
sorry, CrossFit Jesus just reminded me of something that I saw. You know, Moms Against WWE on Twitter.
Oh yes.
I don't know if I can say this without getting into trouble from the internet, but
I'd say it.
But no, I think the tweet went something along the lines of they replied to him calling himself like CrossFit Jesus, and he said the only thing that you and Jesus have in common is that in both of your most famous photos you've both got wood.
Well,
and I swear that is my favourite tweet I've seen all year.
Who knew that they'd Mums Against WWE have as much sass as Kevin Owens does?
Oh man, if you don't go on their Twitter, seriously, just scroll through. It's so funny.
It can't be as serious as Cal.
No, I don't think it is. But some of the stuff that you sometimes read from it is quite debatable.
So let's get on to the different packages then. Rollins, as we alluded to, was the WWE 24 episode in brief. And then the Roman Reigns one was another kind of... He does these quite a bit, doesn't he? These sit-down promos that we saw them when he was against Lesnar. And they seems to work a lot better in that kind of environment, doesn't he? Where he's kind of just sat down facing the camera and talking.
You know why that is? Because they can shoot it like 10 times. And just pick the best one.
But what are
I
your
think
thoughts?
Chelsea's just nailed it. That was a very clever way of them doing a promo for both of them with some screen time without having to have Roman Reigns stand in a ring and get booed out the building. However, it was just displayed on a Titantron, which then got booed out the building, but they can edit that out. So that's essentially why they've done it, in my opinion.
For this week, I've got to say I do like the change of pace in it. Like, it provided something different.
I'll qualify that by saying I thought the segments were really good, but they are going to be good because, as Charles says, you can film it as many times as it takes him to get it right, or at least appear human. And he doesn't have to stand in the ring and nail the delivery, because when you let him stand in the ring and nail the delivery, he comes up with that tater tots bollocks. So.
Or if you let W Creighton behind it, we get the bollocks we saw last week of Rollins walking back and forth to the ring and just.
Yeah, a promo where nobody says anything, which is completely mental. So it was the segment's very good, and I actually think they've put the match over quite well. But at the same time, there's only so many tricks they can pull to keep Roman Reigns out of the ring and protect his image, if you like.
No, agreed, and I think if they keep up doing stuff like they did this week, and let the two actually get into a bit of a scuffle in the upcoming weeks before we get to Money in the Bank, I think we'll have a nice little build to what is going to be a very good match. I mean, Roman Reigns at this point, he doesn't really disappoint when he gets inside the ring. It's just everything around it. So
Absolutely.
We all know what Rollins' in-ring work like is, so I'm sure these two are going to deliver one hell of a match.
Well, and I actually think it makes the AJ and Roman Reigns sort of mini feud look quite smart, because AJ is he's not dissimilar in build and agility to someone like Seth Rollins, so it's give Reigns that practice of wrestling someone like that one-on-one, where the focus is just those two, where there's no triple threat, there's no gimmick, it's just those two guys in the ring. And I think Reigns did actually really well against AJ Styles. The matches were very entertaining. Like you say, it's just the stuff around it that's the issue.
Yeah, I don't think there's any doubt that this match is going to be really, really good, especially if, like you say, like that. The last match we had between Roman Reigns and AJ Styles, that was probably Roman Reigns' one of his best matches, and I think if he does continue like that, I mean, he's slowly starting to win some people over, right?
His in-ring work, I've got zero issue with it whatsoever. I've got no issue with it at all, and if he could cut a promo, I'd actually be a decent fan of him. And it's not just his promo; he needs to change his ring gear and his music. That's a big one for me.
Yeah.
It's as we've all said, it's everything around Roman Reigns that's hampering him at this point. Like, he is very solid in the ring. He's kind of got that John Cena ability to be able to just, when it comes to these big matches against the likes of Daniel Bryan, AJ Styles, he just clicks with all of them. Like, every single one of them he's clicked with. It's just, unfortunately, he's being let down. And as you said, the music, he's still coming out to the Shield music. He's still dressing up like the Shield.
I think if we do get the Shield triple threat as soon as SummerSlam, I think the fact that he's still using that music and the gear is just going to take away some of it. Because how awesome would it be for that music to have hit for the first time in like over a year?
Put it this way: if they do a Shield triple threat and he's still got that music and that outfit, if Rollins and Ambrose don't cut a promo about how stupid it is that he can't let it go, and they've managed to move on and he hasn't, then they've cocked up.
Like, I can understand why they wanted to give it to him at first, because, he was the guy they were kind of pushing that way, and you knew Rollins and Ambrose would be able to go on with whatever they got given, whereas Reigns, he needed something to hold on to get him going. But at this point, I mean, at Mania, he should have come out with something new and a different look, because WrestleMania was kind of the biggest way to kind of, rebrand the guy. If you're going to rebrand anyone, might as well do it at Mania. But
what kind of gear could you see him in, though?
He doesn't need to wear a flak jacket, for starters. He's probably absolutely shredded. He's probably ripped to shreds underneath that.
The D'Lo Brown body protector is not needed.
Exactly. And it's not like The Rock has to wear a T-shirt for 12 months because he had surgery because he had big voidy boobs. There's none of that rubbish. He's in shape. He just needs to sort it out.
I know, I mean, when he was down in NXT, I'm not on TV, he wore the simple wrestler trunks. He could go back to that.
I still can't imagine him with his top on.
I could imagine him in sort of an MMA getup with like shorts and kick pads and gloves, maybe something like that.
Well, like the Usos, but less flamboyant.
Yeah, like the Usos, but like less dickheady.
Like Brock.
A little bit, yeah. Because I think it's because he's quite an athletic guy, even though he's massive. So I think that'd suit him more than like pants. Because I think trunks is on the way out. Like wrestlers shouldn't have to wear them these days. But a man in pants just ain't something you should see in 2016. Styles moved on. It was fine for Ric Flair.
Hold on. Finn can keep wearing them.
As long as it's Finn and Samoa Joe doesn't get any ideas or Mark Henry or the Big Show.
Could you? Oh my god.
I'm fairly sure Mark Henry and the Big Show did at one point, and it wasn't a pleasant sight.
I do not even want to picture it.
Fuck, marry, stun. Mark Henry in trunks, Big Show in trunks, or Goldust in trunks.
I am not drunk enough for this conversation.
And we can't forget Naked Midian and Big Dick Johnson.
Oh my god. Right, move on.
Again, WWE title to Naked Midian. That's what you can expect from out of nowhere.
Yeah, if you're a first-time listener, sorry.
It is when we're all sober as well. But moving on to, well, the club. They had a hell of a show today, didn't they? Not today, on Monday.
Yes.
Yeah.
Sorry, I left that very open-ended, didn't I? Left that very open-ended. So the club essentially involved in two different feuds right now. One versus John Cena, one versus the New Day for the tag titles. On this past week's Raw, we got Cena coming out, kind of coming back saying, how he built up AJ to be on the same level as The Rock in terms of the reaction he was getting, and saying, this is a dream WrestleMania match, and it's the questions that people have been asking for 15 years. But then AJ threw it all away, and it's no longer AJ versus Cena, it's now Cena versus the club, or as John Cena likes to call them, the Pull-It Club.
Cracking promo from Cena.
That was one of my favourite Cena promos ever. You could just see Dr. Thugonomics slowly creeping his way out.
Well, from one great promo to another, it brings out AJ Styles with Doc Gallows and Luke Anderson, and he brings out probably the best promo he's done in the WWE, potentially for quite some time. In his response to Cena, saying stuff like, when you wrestle John Cena and lose, it's time to get out the shovel because guys like Cena bury guys like AJ Styles.
Oh, that was savage, wasn't it?
That was brutal.
This was definitely a nudge, nudge, wink, wink, look at what we're doing here. And I fucking loved it, and I think everyone else did as well. That line alone, when alluding to what Cena's done with Rusev, with the Wyatts, it's. Yeah. Chelsea, you go.
No, I was just gonna say this is my favourite segment from the whole night. This match for me is probably the match I'm most looking forward to at Money in the Bank. It's definitely like Ollie, you always say, like WWE versus Mr. TNA. It's kind of Sting versus Triple H, but like a new era sort of thing. Mm-hmm. But no, I think I said last week, like whenever John Cena gets in the ring with somebody like AJ Styles, his matches are absolutely awesome, and I think these two's match is just going to be off the charts. It's probably going to be the match of the night. But who's going to win? That is...
AJ needs a win.
He does need a win.
Yeah.
As Cena alluded to, AJ's been a bit of a disappointment, and he's clutching at straws, and he's desperate for something right now. He lost at WrestleMania. He lost his 2 title matches. He even lost the other week to Kevin Owens. The guy's not won one for quite some time.
I think if Vince loves AJ as much as people are saying that he does, and he does cleanly beat Cena, then I think it's just going to show that he is destined for great things. I think I read something that said Vince even wants like a title around AJ by the end of the year. Well, there is a lot of love there.
Yeah, and we've talked about it, you could build Cena versus AJ Styles up as, say, the SmackDown title picture. and have it go through to SummerSlam, have them trading, back and forth. See, Styles wins this one. Cena ends up winning the title though, which means it's say Battleground or SummerSlam. Styles is like, well, I beat you and you've got the title, so I want my shot. And
I think this is a really easy way for him to level peg with Flair, isn't it?
Yeah, Cena wins the title, comes pegging with Flair, and Styles comes in and beats him, and then it's Styles with the title, with Cena chasing to beat the record at this point. These two could feud for me happily for the rest of
Forever.
the
Yeah.
over the title picture, and it'll be a very great, a very good, strong SmackDown headliner.
Oh, I am all over it. I can't wait.
But I've got to ask, should it be Cena versus Styles one-on-one and not Cena versus the club as it has been and Cena alluded to? What would you prefer, the one-on-one face match or what we're getting, which is the one-on-one heel with the club match?
I don't know how you guys are going to take this, but if it's one-on-one, I reckon Styles is going to win. If it's 3-on-1, I can totally see John Cena winning. It's kind of typical John Cena, isn't it, to overcome something like that?
They book it so the deck stacks so heavily against him that he can't lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I agree with that, but I prefer to see it just one-on-one, Styles and Cena, because I don't necessarily think you need to book those two guys with a gimmick gimmick's probably the wrong word, but with a backstory like having the club. I don't think they need that. They can sell that match themselves. I think if you're going to book something with extra stuff involved, do that with Roman Reigns because he needs the help in terms of building a matchup, if that makes sense. So I think they've possibly overbooked it and they've done it in the wrong place. I hope that makes a bit of sense to somebody. It made sense to me.
I don't know if this is me being completely ignorant and just not remembering what happened, but is it actually a 3-on-1 or is?
No, it's a one-on-one match.
Okay.
It's just simply that
interference.
He's described them as AJ's described them as his insurance policy, didn't he? So he's basically saying, well, if I can't do it, then we'll do it somehow.
Okay, cool.
Well, following on from that promo, we got the insurance policy in action as the three of them went down to take on John Cena, but it saw the run-in from the New Day, the Gallo and Anderson's ongoing tag team feud against the New Day for the titles. They set up to the main event match of the night, which was the New Day versus the Club in a three-man tag team match, with the Club showing just how good and heelish they are by taking out Xavier Woods really before the match even got going. It's had a quick little match, went about 5 or 6 minutes, with the Club beating the New Day. Post-match, Club looking to take down the New Day with John Cena coming out to make the save. Good way to end Raw, what you expected to really happen, and could you see Gallows and Anderson's upsetting the New Day come Money in the Bank?
I really hope that the people that take the titles off the New Day is Gallows and Anderson.
Because we've got, as booked tonight by Teddy Long, of all people, a fatal four-way Money in the Bank tag match. Money in the Bank tag match, sorry, not a Money in the Bank match. Jesus Christ, that would be amazing. No, a fatal four-way tag match for the Tag Team Championships in Gallows and Anderson versus the New Day versus the Vaudevillains versus Enzo and Cass.
Is this at Money in the Bank?
It is at Money in the Bank.
Oh, awesome.
Chelsea's ending out. Again, you just zoned out from the Teddy Long segments, didn't you? You just gave no shits during Teddy Long's antics on Raw.
Well,
I can see why.
Yeah, I just didn't. I didn't find it funny. I just didn't get it at all. But I watch Raw live every week for some reason now, so it gets to whatever time it is in the morning, and by the time I come back around to think what actually happened, I can't remember.
I did quite like him trying to book matches, and he basically said, he sounded like a senile old man. He was like, we'll have a fatal four-way triple threat elimination, and then Steph's like, that made no sense. That didn't make any sense.
It was...
I was surprised when he came back out, thinking, all right, where's this is going? And we'll allude to where it went to by the end of the night, but going back to the New Day versus Gallows and Anderson feud, and you were starting to say, Chelsea, do you want Gallows and Anderson to be the one to walk away with the title belts? I
think it makes some sense because you've got. I remember when the Shield came in and they started collecting belts. You had, the tag belts and the US title with them, and I think it gives the club or the the stable at that point, if you put the tag belts on them, some threat because they're obviously good enough to be the tag champions, so they're good enough to take out other wrestlers as well. So I think it gives them some legitimacy if they do get the straps. I wouldn't be upset to see it happen.
Chelsea?
Sorry. I'll let. What?
Chelsea's having a stroke. Live on air, Chelsea from out of nowhere is having a stroke.
You need an ambulance. Are you okay?
No, I'm good. I'm good.
For me, you good?
Yeah. Sorry, I just zoned out.
Jesus Christ, Teddy Long has affected you, hasn't he?
Yeah, let's blame it on Teddy Long. That's.
Oh well, let's move on then. Seeing as Chelsea's starting to fade away.
I do this regularly all the time at the moment.
You might want to see a doctor about that. Just saying.
I will take that under advice.
But the last bit of news coming out from Raw this week, in one of, again, the many Teddy Long segments that we saw, was Steph announced that she will be running SmackDown. Which I can only assume means that Shane's running Raw. So, did you see Steph walking away of SmackDown being in charge?
Absolutely not. I thought it was going to go the other way around.
What is she actually saying? Because I must have zoned out at that point as well, because I don't seem to remember actually hearing that. But I'm not saying it didn't happen. I'm just saying I didn't pay attention.
Yeah, no, I didn't see it either.
Right. Let me dig it up again. Let me find a transcript of Raw.
Okay, yeah, I've found it.
We found it.
So, well, not the exact quote, but I've basically found it and remember now what she said. She said, basically said to Teddy Long that they're not having the same old SmackDown where nothing makes sense, and Vince wants someone smart, young, and intelligent in charge, and that person's not her brother.
She's not young.
I don't know. That's what you take away from that. But yes, Steph will be running SmackDown. She's done it in the past, and she was a very entertaining when she had it in the past, running SmackDown, and I'm sure they'll probably write her potentially similarly.
Was it actually confirmation though, or do you reckon or was she just putting herself out there?
No, the way she phrased it was that it was her running SmackDown. Vince put her in charge.
I'm just thinking out loud here. When's Survivor Series?
Series.
November?
Yeah.
Right. I'm calling it now.
What's that?
Shane versus Steph Survivor Series to control the lot.
Jesus Christ, you think they'd install the draft and get rid of it in the space of 6 months? Actually, yes, they would. This is the WWE.
Yeah.
Well, apparently the rumor is that they're going to do. I think after every other after like the big pay-per-views, they're going to have a Raw and SmackDown joint Raw, like a super show after each pay-per-view.
That's cool.
I think that was I heard that a couple of places, and Pro like on Squared Circle and whatnot, alluding to it, and I think they mentioned it in the Wrestling Observer. That's what they're planning to do.
Sorry to derail you there.
So I think that could be interesting if they go back to the super shows, because Raw's gonna need it, I think. But yeah, I think that all covers all of us in to do with Raw. But I think before we get on to NXT, there's something that we've actually not discussed on a podcast, I don't think. Did we discuss it last week about Brock Lesnar?
No, I don't think we did. I think it was after then.
So yeah, for those who don't know, Brock Lesnar is been confirmed to be fighting at UFC 200 against the Samoan Mark Hunt.
I think you're the one having a stroke now, Ollie.
This literally came out of nowhere, to coin the phrase of the podcast there. I mean, it was overnight you saw Brock Lesnar will be at UFC 200. It's just like, what?
Well, yeah, it was like rumours and I was like, no chance in hell. And then I woke up and get Bleacher Report notifications, and it's just, how the hell is this working? Like, what have they done to Vince to allow him to do this?
They'll be giving him someone in return for a special event, won't they?
Well, that's what everyone keeps saying is it's a trade for Ronda Rousey or
That's what I've seen. Like, they want Rousey in for next Mania.
Is it not a massive risk though? Because if Brock Lesnar gets his ass kicked and gets sparked out, that kind of shatters the whole invincible killing machine illusion that they've built up in WWE, doesn't it?
And it's like, so UFC 100 takes place at July 9th. He's then confirmed that he's making his in-ring return at SummerSlam, which is August 21st.
But that could easily that I don't see that happening. I can honestly see, like, even if he gets concussed or something like that, I can honestly see something going tits up, and they are literally going to be like, oh fuck, why did we let him do this?
Especially when the guy's against, like, when I heard it, I think I said to you guys, he's going to be facing a chump. Like, they can't put him in there against any of the big heavyweights. And the guy they're facing, it's Mark Hunt. For those who don't know or follow UFC, he's the 8th ranked heavyweight in the world. Granted, he has a professional record of 12-10, but he is known for knocking people the fuck out. And Lesnar's not got much of a stand-up game in terms of his MMA career. So, they is at the highest risk of just getting sparked. I can see that it's a very high risk, high reward. This because
it's completely what Russ said. Like, if he loses, everything that they've built him up to be in the WWE is just going to be like, yeah, well, you tried having a proper fight and you lost. So, but yeah, then on the other hand, if he does win and he's fully fine to come to SummerSlam, then yeah, he's going to be even higher than even more powerful than he was before.
And I think the WWE is going to have to be very, very smart with how they book this following up from this, because there's a lot of ways that this could go and the storylines they could take away from this. I mean, there's everything from, if he, like you say, he loses and gets sparked out in the first round.
Could you imagine that if that happens and then it's like the New Day that come out to him when he comes back onto Raw next? And yeah.
If he does get sparked out, like, you could build it, you could then do the Bray Wyatt feud where he's like, oh, you lost, and and Bray Wyatt playing his hippie-trippy mind games and trying to get into the side of Brock Lesnar's head and actually beats the Beast at SummerSlam, and it's kind of Brock's road to redemption, as it were. Or if he wins and just at SummerSlam, you've got to think, right, he's got to go after the WWE title, and all that was fucking pointless.
Yeah, let's not feed Bray Wyatt to anyone else. He's had enough.
No, but then, like at SummerSlam, if Brock Lesnar wins and goes on to SummerSlam, surely you then have to put him in a match with Roman Reigns, or people are going to be like, why, he just won at UFC 200, why is he not then facing for the WWE title? Like, he's just instantly got his credit, not that Brock's lost any credibility, but he's instantly back up there, back to how he was when he came back as the big beast to beat The Undertaker. And then if he doesn't beat Roman Reigns in, say, the space of 5 minutes, it's very, they've got to be so clever with how they do this afterwards. So clever with how they do this afterwards. I mean, you can't.
I find it hard to believe they'd let this happen without having a contingency in place for either result.
It's an interesting time for the WWE, and not one I ever thought they'd be in. Or is Vince going senile in his old age? Is that what it is? Is that where, like, the NXT is coming from? And the brand split is he going senile and Triple H taking advantage of it?
Maybe.
It's just getting Vince is lost and confused backstage, and Triple H is just leaking contracts under his nose, saying, "Vince, sign here." He's like, "Oh, what? Yeah."
That would make such a good backstage segment, like, every week.
It'd be better than Zombie Linda McMahon.
Oh, was that the angle where he had Trish Stratus barking like a dog? Oh, I think we need to do a look back at some of these stupid storylines they've done in the past and just be like, what?
Oh man, I'll edit this out. But I watched a video on YouTube and it was like It was something stupid like BuzzFeed or something like that, but it was like just people watching wrestling who'd never seen it before. So instead of showing them really, really cool stuff, they showed here. I can't remember who it was, but when someone gave birth to a hand.
Oh, very young.
Yeah, they showed the Katie Vick story as well, and like Triple H.
Of course they were going to show that one.
Brian Pillman's got a gun with that in it.
So like these guys who've like never seen wrestling before, and that's what they get shown. It really gives wrestling a bad name.
A lot of the 90s gave wrestling a bad name. As good as the Attitude Era was, you've got to take the highs with the lows of that era.
Let's get this right. Vince Russo gave wrestling a bad name. Because they've got him slapped all over it.
I mean, they may as well just gone and showing them WCW Viagra on a pole match.
Well, we've reviewed
look
that
who
one
it
before,
is.
haven't we? Oh, hello.
Have we got? Have we had a run-in? Have we from one of the Allen brothers?
He's running and muted himself.
Well, he's not happy. He's shaking his head, and I think he might be naked as well. Oh no, that isn't.
The amount of shit coming out of your mouth this episode is unbelievable. I let it known to Chelsea mid-show that I am doing a progress review, and I'll have to talk to you individually after the show because so far this episode has been nothing but a shambles.
This is really helping.
The information you're giving is nothing but falsehoods. Stephanie McMahon did not clarify she would be the SmackDown general manager. Not in the slightest. Brock Lesnar is obviously going trading for a UFC person. I think that's obvious. And there will be a clause that if he gets knocked out, then they get even more money. Because that's what contracts do. And you're right, Chelsea. This was either going to be the best show or the worst show. And it was definitely the worst.
Is Mike now become Ross the Boss Miller? Is that what's happening? You know, we've got easy going all authority on us.
Well, I'm just here trying to get ready for a weekend away and listening to this live. I'm looking forward to the NXT part of it. I just thought I'd come in mid-show, and just while you're talking about Mae Young's hand, relevant in 2016. Unbelievable. And my first point is let Russ talk. I think he said. I think I've smart more than Russ this episode already.
Well, we're all here working and doing a podcast when you're just sat there drinking beer.
What? No, this beer went on a journey. I lost it. I found it amongst my Lego.
Stormtroopers took it.
You found a beer in Lego.
That is not child friendly.
It's no, it's not for my child. It's for me. I've got my Star Wars scene set up, and apparently I put my beer with the Lego because.
I think you need to drink less beer if that's where you're keeping it.
Yeah. Anyway, that was all. I just thought I'd come on and say hello to y'all. Bye.
Oh, our head of wrestling there.
Head of wrestling? Have we been overtook?
I think the Allen brothers are just taking over. I think that's what it is.
Well,
The power's gone to
because neither of them are here.
the power's gone to Stevie's head in the Facebook group, and Mike's giving us talking dance on the podcast.
Yeah, I'm going to be exiled soon.
Well, let's get on to NXT TakeOver where we continue talking too much inside baseball, as it were. And frankly, I thought was one hell of a show. It wasn't built up as big as the other ones, but my God, did it deliver. So first up, we had, I'm going to butcher his name, but Andre Cien Animas versus Ty Dillinger in his Cien's debut match. Russ, what did you think?
Before I get into the match, I do have to point out something Lita said on the panel side of this. She said, and I quote, "What's his name?" And Corey Graves said, "His name's Cien Almas." And she said, "Cien means 100 in Spanish, doesn't it?" And then he said, "Yes." And she went, "Oh, okay. Well, given that he was fighting Ty Dillinger, I reckon that's at least, I think that might be 10 times better than 10. and his name's 100 in Spanish, and she didn't realise that 10 times better than 10 is 100. And the look on Corey Graves' face was incredible. It was literally like, are you fucking retarded? That was the look on his face. And yeah, she didn't realise. I just had to get that out of the way because I watched it and I was like, did I just see that?
And it's reasons like this I just don't watch pre-shows anymore.
But that's why you should watch the pre-show, because it was hilarious.
Who was on the panel? Was it just Corey?
It was Corey, Lita, and blonde lady.
Renee Young.
Renee Young. There we go.
Oh, okay. As long as Booker T's not there, then that's all good.
But yeah, the look on Corey Graves' face basically said, "Someone please fire me out of a cannon into the sun." But moving on to the match, I actually thought it was decent. Surprised that Dillinger lost.
I wasn't. I think Ty Dillinger's very much into Dolph Ziggler, Tyler Breeze. Basically the same person at this point. And they've got this very similar kind of where Tyler Breeze.
Jumper to the stars in NXT.
Yeah.
After this match, I just think even more like Ty Dillinger is so underrated.
Yeah,
like that guy put on such a great match.
He's over as well. The crowd love it.
That super kick he delivered to Cien when he was upside down.
Oh man, that was brutal.
Oh, the pop on that one. Bloody hell.
There was so many cool moments in this match. I think was it like the moonsault onto the ring and then another moonsault onto him. Like that was
moonsault into a moonsault.
That was so cool. Like
he did the somersault he did into the double knees, which was like something out of Mortal Kombat or Street Fighter, you see.
Oh my god. There's so many cool things in this match, and that's the thing, like Ty Dillinger has always been, like you say, that guy that just like jobs to the new guys coming in. But after that match, if he doesn't get like boosted up a little, something's wrong, because that match was so good. There was so many spots, like especially when what's his name? Cien Almas or something.
Yeah.
That thing when he went to suicide dive out the ropes and he just like caught himself there, like that. I love it when stuff like that happens, and that was so good.
So, for those who don't know, Cien Almas is the former La Sombra, a luchador in both AAA, I believe, CMLL, and also, as alluded to, he held the IWGP Intercontinental Championship. So he's look up La Sombra on YouTube and you'll see a lot of what he does is fantastic, and we saw glimpses of that in this little 5-minute show that we got.
Anyone find it refreshing that they didn't debut a Hispanic man and immediately put him in a mask and make him a luchador?
Well, that's the thing. Like he's.
I know he's been a luchador before and he's had the mask, but it's refreshing that he's come to WWE. They've not immediately been like, get a mask on him, pretend he's Sin Cara, get on with it.
Sin Cara 3.0.
I think like with a lot of these guys who do wear the masks, they almost are better at showing their in-ring facial expressions because they've had to sell through a mask, which has kind of improved their ability to kind of put their emotions across, because all they've got is the fucking eye holes in the eye slits of their eyes and the mouth hole. I mean, you look at Del Rio and Sami Zayn, both wore masks for the past numerous years they were wrestling, and those two guys, their facial expressions are like some of the best in the business in terms of trying to get their emotions across. And I think we'll probably see that with La Sombra, well, Cien Almas as well moving forward.
Never thought of it like that.
So I do have to say though, why the fuck did he come out in a fucking white pimp boy outfit?
Yeah, I think, well, me, Michael and Steve, we whenever you guys aren't like man enough to stay awake, and we are, we'll talk about it. And like that's the thing, the entrances, like the ring attire at the moment is very hit and miss, like with absolutely everybody. And I think he kind of reminded me of No Way Jose, because he comes out in all white too, doesn't he?
He does, yes.
And I don't know, man. I think once he'd like took the hat off and stuff like that, like it looked all right. But now he looks ridiculous coming down to the ring.
I do like that they try for takeovers. They always like all the guys have takeover outfits. I mean, Jesus Christ, the fucking collar on Ty Dillinger.
Oh man, what was that?
Yeah, he did look a bit Harry Hill, didn't he?
You know, like some kind of fucking Death Eater from Harry Potter or some kind of fucking.
Can you imagine if it was
No,
actually a
he-
Death Eater in Harry Potter?
And I've got to say, he's the only white guy I know that can pull off cornrows.
No.
No, no.
No, there isn't a white guy on the planet that can pull off cornrows. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, but
No.
the amount of respect that I've gained for Ty Dillinger, he still looks like an absolute prat.
It works for the Ty Dillinger character, though.
It does, but he has to live with that haircut.
Could you imagine just like rocking up to Tesco's wearing that?
I'm always surprised at how the fucking Wyatt family lives with their fucking beards. Jesus
Now,
Christ.
I know I said I was going,
Oh, Jesus Christ, he's back.
but I dropped my beer because of something somebody said, and somebody dared utter the words Alberto Del Rio and best in the business in the same sentence.
You've been at the
And
Lego again.
I know you facial expressions, but those two phrases just don't belong together ever. I just thought that needed to be said.
Do you want to just hit us with a page dig before you go, Michael?
I love Paige. Paige.
And so does Del Rio every night.
No.
And she loves him back on.
Now she's the best in the business.
Oh, I bet he knows that.
All right, I'm done. It's a bloody travesty. Enjoy your show.
Moving on from CN versus Ty Dillinger, we get another outstanding tag team match. I think even better than the previous TakeOver tag team match between the two teams. Jason Jordan, Chad Gable defending the NXT tag titles against Dash Wilder and Scott Dawson. Holy boy, that was a match and a half, wasn't it?
This match was my favourite of the evening. Like, I know we had a steel cage match involving Finn Balor, but this match was like I was excited for the rematch, and because like how incredible the match was at Dallas. But I think they just took it to a whole new level. Like the in sync stuff that Jason Jordan and Chad Gable did in the middle of the ring was fucking awesome, and the whole match was brilliant. And
there was just tag team move after tag team move after, you know, like they really epitomised what tag team wrestling meant, didn't they? I mean, everything was always done in tandem or and it just flowed.
I would definitely go as far to say that these two are the best tag teams that the WWE have got at the moment.
In the ring, definitely.
Yeah, So there is better out the ring, but no, when it comes to just technical ability and stuff like that, these two just nail it every single time. And just to talk about the ending, I love American Alpha and I love the Revival, but to have an ending like that nobody expected, I don't think you could have asked anyone and they would have said that Revival were going to win. And for them to be the first time two-time NXT champs is just mind-blowing, and I'm so happy. But I think it's really weird though, because like the first time that they won the belts, I was like, what the fuck? Like, who are these guys? And now for them to beat American Alpha and for me to be happy about it is crazy.
Yeah, I can't disagree with any of that. It was a ridiculously good match. Does anybody do a standing drop kick better than Jason Jordan?
No.
Because holy shit, it is ridiculously good.
That dude can jump. Yeah, just that drop kick is beautiful.
But it's not the result I expected. Like you say, Chelsea, I didn't have that one called at all. I mean, might be jumping ahead of the conversation here, but do you think that might be angling towards an early call-up?
Oh, absolutely.
I was going to say, is well, you know, as we kind of alluded to, the American Alpha did unfortunately lose their titles in their first defense of them against the Revival, and with all the rumours of NXT is going to get raided for the brand split, are these guys going to be the first two names they're really going to get called up?
Well, that's the thing. Just to talk about the thing overall and the whole end of the beginning era sort of thing. But yeah, I think with the amount of talent that they're going to rinse, that we're not going to have another takeover before the brand split, are we, in the draft?
The next
No.
one's SummerSlam time, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Brooklyn. Next
So,
NXT is Brooklyn.
But yeah, I really think that I think Finn's going to go, Joe's going to go, American Alpha's going to go, and then yeah, we literally are going to be starting a complete fresh.
It's man. I can't wait to see American Alpha kind of tear it up on the main roster with the likes of the Club and the New Day. But I could happily again see them stay down in NXT and feud with the Revival, because these two teams, like, I've not seen teams with so much chemistry before. Like this, they just clicked like the Hardys and Edge and Christian click.
I don't think keeping them apart's a bad idea though. If the Revival spend 6 months or so in NXT helping bring through the next sort of crop of tag teams, and then it kind of the anticipation will build for a rematch between the two when they come up to the main roster. That could be a possible way of doing
it. I definitely have to agree with you. And I think if you keep the Revival down there as the heel champions, you've got quite a few face tag teams who could, chase them. I mean,
Hype Bros.
Yeah, you've got the Hype Bros. You've got the recently debuted TM61, who they've kind of been in a kind of mini feud with the Rival already. You've obviously got Ciampa and Gargano. Like, there's quite a few face tag teams down there that could easily kind of chomp at the bit for a feud against the Revival. So by moving American Alpha up, you're not really doing too much harm to the NXT tag division, because the NXT tag division's insane.
It really blows like the main event out of the water, doesn't it? I mean, I know we've got Gallows and Anderson up there now, but even with like Enzo and Cass and the Vaudevillains, the technical ability that they have in the tag teams down in NXT it's ridiculous. I mean, like, yeah, you got Ciampa and Gargano, the Revival, American Alpha, like all those they're just, it's a whole different match to watch when you see a tag team match in NXT and a tag team match in the main roster.
Exactly, and to give a tag team match 16, 17 minutes and put on the show that they did.
Yeah, I rewatched it earlier on, and I think I was talking to you guys about the podcast while I was like watching the match, and I looked back up at the TV and I was like, this match is still on. They gave it a ridiculous amount of time.
I think it was the longest one of the night.
They thoroughly deserved it.
But this match, I think, I have to agree with you, Chelsea. I think it is kind of the match of the night for me. Russ, would you have to agree?
It's either that one or we'll get to it next, but I absolutely love Nakamura and Aries as well. But yeah, I think on balance, yes, this was the best match, because for four guys to come in and perform that well together was an outrageously good display.
Well, look, before we get on to Nakamura and Aries, there was a post-match shenanigans following the tag team title match after the Revival beat American Alpha. Revival left. The American Alpha kind of left saddened and crying in the ring, but all the fans were chanting their name and cheering them until two brutes that frankly looked like the Shield had eaten the Road Warriors came out and absolutely destroyed them. This was then followed up, quite fittingly, with the former Legion of Doom Road Warriors manager, Paul Ellering, coming out and essentially debuting the new monster team of the NXT tag division, who I think Triple H alluded to them being called the Authors of Pain in his Facebook interview after NXT.
Who the fuck are these guys?
But they've not been on TV yet.
No, so for those who don't know who they are, again, I could potentially butcher these two names, but they are Gizim Salamina and Sonny Dinshaw. And Zim is a former MMA fighter. He's a record of 4-2, competed at Bellator 130. And Dinsar is a national wrestling champion, I believe of Indian descent. Gizem is Albanian. And yeah, these two motherfuckers are huge and Jesus Christ.
Are you sure they're not just like D'Lo Brown's sons?
To be fair, if you see them without their mask on, they do look a shitload like D'Lo Brown.
I would like to add a footnote to that. That did not come from me. But no, that is they. Yeah, it just looks like D'Lo Brown's twin sons.
If D'Lo Brown was in shape.
Oh, interesting way to debut these two new guys.
Yeah, definitely.
And down in the performance center, there is a third man too. They call themselves the Tribe. Down in the performance center, and their third man was Lovepreet Singh, the guy you saw on Breaking Ground, the Kabaddi League champion. So it'll be interesting to see if they bring up Lovepreet Singh as well and actually do go with the Tribe, or it's just the two of them. But I quite liked it. I think we've not really had a monster team in NXT since the Ascension, and we saw them try to do the Road Warriors lead, thing with the Ascension, and now they're doing it clearly with these two actually giving them the Road Warriors manager in Paul Ellering, which was a surprise. I did not see that coming at the end. I just thought it was going to be the run of the bit, when he saw it, was like, oh, okay, two new monster tag teams, then nope, they're giving them the Hall of Famer manager. Thoughts?
I really don't know. I don't know who these guys are, but it looks like they are being pushed straight out the gate, and obviously just see what they can do. I mean, it's all well and good just coming to the ring and beating people up, but I think put them in a match and we'll really see what they're like.
Russ?
Agreed. It's cool that they're getting the support of Paul Ellering, because obviously he's got that history, and if he can lend his experience to those guys and sort of advise them on how to best work their characters, then it makes a lot of sense. And like you say, there's not been a monster team there since the Ascension, but they've kind of, it's all gone a bit Pete Tong for them. And then the closest ones, if there's a trio of them, you're immediately thinking of the Shield. So they're in good company if they can make it work.
Well, from there, let us move on to the equivalent match of the night candidate in Shinsuke Nakamura taking on Austin Aries. Russ, seeing as you kind of had this up there, what were your thoughts on it?
Shinsuke Nakamura is fucking awesome. And Austin Aries is also fucking awesome, and there was no way this was going to be a crap match. No way. It started off a bit by the numbers, but then as the match developed, they both just... Aries was sensational, didn't get the win, maybe jumping ahead of myself there, but he looked so good in this match alongside Nakamura, who always looks good. I loved it. It was brilliant. And that big spot on the edge of the apron from Aries was...
Death Valley Driver.
Man.
You don't really see that. You don't see the Death Valley Driver often, but onto the apron, bloody hell, that looked like it hurt.
Yeah. Nakamura bumping like a champ for him there. But, yeah, it was. The whole match was brilliant, and I say it started off a bit formulaic and by the numbers. That's not criticism. It just helped build to what the match became, and I thought it was paced really well. And it was about 17 minutes long, and it was a long old match, but at no point was there a breather. No one took a rest. It was just constant, brilliant wrestling.
Chelsea, you're a massive fan of Sami Zayn versus Nakamura at TakeOver Dallas. Was this close to getting up there for you?
The match was, like Russ said, it was fucking awesome. I don't think it's up there with Sami Zayn Nakamura. Like, for some reason, that match is just in a complete league of its own. But yeah, they both put on an absolutely incredible show. Like Russ said, like there was no way that this was going to be a crap match. But all I keep thinking to myself is like Austin Aries can do so much more. Pardon?
Which is saying something because he did loads in this match.
No, that's the thing. Like, he is absolutely phenomenal and the best in the world. But I don't know. Like, there's just because I've seen so much of Austin Aries, like obviously in like TNA and stuff like that, and I don't know. I just know he can do more. Like that match did have the potential to be up there with Sami Zayn, but for some reason they're just Austin Aries just isn't giving 100. No, maybe not that he's not giving 100% or what it is, but that dude is one of the best wrestlers in the world, and it just I need to see more. But no, but for the match, no, it was incredible, and you can't really expect anything other than that from those two.
I think there's more coming from Aries. If you look at the finish, it wasn't that he was beaten. He kind of it was sold as he made a mistake and that was punished.
Yeah.
Because he was trying something crazy like a jump to the outside and he ended up running himself into a fence. But I mean, I think this match kind of maybe was a bit of a teaser as this is the real Austin Aries because I don't think to this point we've actually seen it.
No, absolutely not.
And I think this was kind of a teaser of check this guy out. He's not made it this time, but there's a lot more to come. I think moving into the title picture post this show.
Give him Joe. Give him Joe. Those two. That will be Austin Aries' match. When he takes on Joe, that will be the match where you're like, yes, that is the Austin Aries I want to see.
I definitely enjoyed this match, and I think there's from both of them kind of we've only really just seen the start for both of them, and I think the match itself kind of played into that story that Austin Aries had been overshadowed by Nakamura. I mean, any other time of the year, Austin Aries debuts is the biggest thing, but debut a month before Nakamura, this is what's going to happen, and I think it definitely helped playing into that as well, and I enjoyed it. We saw kind of Austin Aries doing his kind of playing into the more heel side of things and slight underhand tactics here and there, and Nakamura just being the swaggiest motherfucker we've ever lived. It definitely put on one hell of a match together, and I will always love Corey Graves' call on the Kinshasa because my God, that man.
He loves it.
But I think what could come from Austin Aries is I always start that sentence again. What we could see from Austin Aries in terms of getting his ass in gear and getting on a few better matches was the slight tease that we got of once again a reappearing Bobby Roode in a backstage segment with William Regal, quite slyly.
Yeah, that was clever. That was.
It's interesting to see if he debuts in the upcoming, because I believe there's NXT tapings on tonight, so it'll be interesting to see if Bobby Roode pops up in the next couple of episodes and to see what he has to say for himself in NXT. But moving on from that, let's get on to the second of the title matches, which was Asuka defending her women's championship against Nia Jax. Chelsea, did this match surprise you at all? Did Nia Jax win you around?
No. I don't know what it is about Nia Jax. I'm just not sold on her at all. I just want to know what they're doing with the whole Bayley thing. To be honest, that's what I'm more interested in. I knew there was no way that Asuka was going to lose. Asuka was absolutely brilliant as expected as well, but Nia Jax is just missing something. I don't know what it is, but just her in another title match again. I don't get it. I really don't get it. This for me was probably the match I was least interested in as well, which is a real shame. But I want Bayley back.
See, I think what Nia Jax might be missing is actually the threat. I mean, you look at the size of her; she should be stamping on everybody in front of her.
Her entrance music doesn't help either, does it?
No, it's not intimidating at all. And I think they pushed her into a match with Bayley too soon. And they didn't give her enough build. And I think if you build someone like Nia Jax as just this absolute wrecking ball, which she really could be because of her size and her intimidating presence, I think she's been bumped up too quickly, and she's not got that threat because you know she's not going to beat Asuka. You know she's not going to beat Bayley. regardless of her size, because of how quickly she's been pushed up the roster. And I think she needed a bit slower of a build to build that sort of monster presence, if you like.
I'm going to bring out the old line of it's just because she's The Rock's cousin.
But yeah, you're probably right. But I think it's done long-term damage to her character, because if you say if she's unbeaten for 8-9 months but doesn't get a title shot, she can get really pissed off and start throwing people around backstage all she wants, and then she can actually win a title when she's ready. But when she's in for 2 months, she has 3 squash matches on NXT, and then she's in a title picture, which she ain't going to win. It kind of kills the image.
Yeah, I think that backstage segment she had with Bayley when she just completely threw her through the doors and stuff like that. If she'd have done that for weeks and weeks and weeks, and done that to everybody, and kind of done like a Baron Corbin almost, when he had just squash matches for months on end. Yeah, I definitely agree. It's just something about her I just can't gel with, and yeah, I was. To say disappointed in this match would not be right, but I just think it's the fact that I just wasn't interested in it.
I think it was is probably one of Nia's better showings. It was never going to be the match of the night, but I mean you saw bits of what Nia Jax I think can do. I mean that powerbomb she delivered to Asuka, and there's something there. It's just it is, as Russ has alluded to, it's far too soon. It's too much too soon for her, and I think she still needed a couple more months, maybe out of television, to really get some of her key power game down before they brought her onto TV. And the
worst thing that could happen to her is to be pushed even more quickly up to the main roster.
Yeah, I think she's definitely not one of the ones who kind of like Baron Corbin who could learn on the main roster. It's something she needs to. I think she does need to maybe go off TV for a few months to kind of rebuild and come back, and maybe a change of outfit, and it's not not in the jumpsuit, the floral jumpsuit that we initially saw, and whatever she's trying to go for now.
Let's be honest though, I don't think her being with Eva Marie helped.
I think it helped get people to hate on her more, because you may as well use Eva Marie for that.
Yeah, I guess. I just think that the heat that she got when she was with Eva was all aimed at Eva, and she doesn't get anywhere near as much heat as that without her there. I think that's why I called interference on this match. I thought bringing Eva Marie out would cause even more heat towards her. I think that was a shot missed.
It'll be interesting to see where they do go with the women's title picture moving forward. I mean, does Bayley automatically go back into it, or do we see some of the others, kind of the other NXT women build themselves into the title picture? Like Alexa Bliss. Maybe if there's something there. But
I just think that the girls that we have left who aren't like the new people, like Peyton Royce and stuff like that, we really do only have. Obviously, not taking Bayley into account, it is like Alexa Bliss and Carmella, and just thinking about them going up against Asuka is. Asuka's just going to destroy them.
I think NXT, the women's division NXT, does need to.
Who legitimately could, other than Bayley, beat Asuka?
Nia Jax, if you build her and book her right, but they didn't.
Yeah, I think
they threw that away too early.
Yeah, that's been and gone now.
I think it's an interesting time for the NXT women's division, and we're gonna. I think over the next few weeks and months, we're going to see them rebuild it, because they gutted the NXT women's division essentially when they brought up Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, Charlotte, and then Emma and Dana.
We need Nikki Storm on TV as soon as possible.
I'd love to see Sarah Del Rey come down onto the show. I believe she could do it, or Sarah Marto. She's as a trainer's called. I think she could be fascinating to actually have on show, like they used to use William Regal back when NXT started.
That would be a pretty good angle,
yeah. We'll see where that goes moving forward. But on to our title picture tonight. Samoa Joe defending his NXT Championship against Finn Balor in a cage match. Chelsea, as the resident Finn Balor expert, what are your thoughts on this match?
I'll start from the beginning. Finn in black and white was fucking awesome. Like, I wasn't really. This is really controversial, but I didn't like the blue from Dallas, but I really, really like the black and white, and it was nice there. It just his entrance was awesome when he like crawled up in front of the cage, like that. That's the Finn we want to see. The match was good. It was really good. I'm disappointed we didn't get a coup de grace from the top of the cage. I'm really disappointed that didn't happen. But
Joe would have broken his ribs.
well, even if he missed it, like
Samoa Joe breaks his rib, or Finn Balor shatters his ankles. That's the two conclusions from that one move.
Or pops his knees out.
Yeah.
I guess I should be grateful. But no, it was everything I expected, really. And I can also say that cage was so nice. I don't know what it was about it, but that cage just looked awesome.
But down as one thing, it came in flat, and then all the pieces kind of moved in.
Yeah, no, it was really good. As for the outcome of the match, to be expected, I think, especially after the revival, like first 2-time NXT tag team champs. But no, I'm happy with it. I'm just reading ahead of the match in what's next for Finn. Especially because in Triple H on Facebook he did like a live talk afterwards, and he said that it could have been a swerve, but he said like he doesn't think Finn's leaving the main event scene, and I think that would have been a good place to leave Finn and Joe, don't you think, rather than continuing that even more.
Did he specify that was the NXT main event scene?
No.
Or did he just say he won't be leaving the main event scene? Doesn't mean it has to be the NXT main event scene.
Oh, Russ, I'm just getting excited again. No, just imagine, he said that, and he's like, I was not leaving the main event scene, and he comes at Money in the Bank, wins the briefcase.
Big bash, there you go.
Perfect.
I have to say, throughout that match, there were definite points where you could have believed Finn was picking up the victory. I mean, they didn't play it out as a very predictable main event. They definitely had certain points where you thought, holy shit, is Finn going to win this? I mean, he tries the sling blade off the top rope, and I got close at certain points. Would you agree, or?
Yeah, I think they did a good job of, even though I think almost everyone I spoke to about this predicted the result as it went, they did a good job of maybe subverting those expectations through the match, like you say. So there were points where you think, oh, well, he's done it, and I like that. It wasn't a foregone conclusion as far as the story of the match was concerned. As in, if you take the match as a self-contained story, you could have seen it happening.
Yeah. And I liked as well, like, when, I'm not sure if it was kind of on purpose or not, but when it was Samoa Joe, when you actually won the title from Finn, he hit the Muscle Buster, and that pinned Finn. But when he hits the Muscle Buster in this match, is on Demon Finn, who kicks out of it. And he needed to do the, middle rope Muscle Buster to put Finn down. Which
I thought Finn was legit dead after that.
Yeah, we joked about them potentially going for it, but holy shit, they actually did it.
that bump must have seriously hurt.
Bret Hart would be going livid. But overall thoughts of the match then?
Yeah, it was a solid match. I think we've seen the Finn and Joe do a couple of in-ring straight matches, which have both been excellent. And I think every time you introduce a gimmick, it kind of detracts from the actual technical wrestling side of it. But I think they worked it well. Finn trying to escape from the cage a couple of times and things like that. And it's always nice to see something different in NXT. You see so much straight wrestling that the gimmick matches are actually something to look forward to. It's not something that happens every week or every pay-per-view like it is on the main roster. So it's always a treat to see it, I think, in NXT.
Yeah, I just want to echo what Russ said. Having that cage match, because really it's one of the first real gimmick matches that we've had. I just hope that it continues to be a once in a blue moon type deal.
I
I
think
can't. Was the last gimmick match the ladder match between
Owens and Finn.
Owens and Finn? Yeah.
You could count the 2 out of 3 falls match, Sami Zayn versus Samoa Joe, as a gimmick match. But that's it. Like I think we've had 3 2 out of 3 falls matches, 2 or 3 of them. We've had 2 or 3 ladder matches, and I've had a cage match in NXT's entire 4-year run now. Like, whereas in WWE, I think you'd see that all in the space of 6 months. So
Or
it's
in one
definitely-
pay-per-view.
on pay-per-view. So I definitely appreciate NXT's slower paced build up to these big matches, and they treat them as big matches. And it'll be interesting to see where both of these guys really go moving forward. So yeah, as I said, there is a TV taping in NXT tonight as we record this, so it will be interesting to see.
Sky's the limit for both of them, I reckon.
Definitely, and I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they are both up come draft time.
Yeah, don't think you could pick one or the other, could you? I think they're both
Destined.
they're both ready. Like, stick them on the main roster Monday, and away they go.
But to go back to that Triple H interview, he did say at the end of it that Samoa Joe versus Shinsuke Nakamura is destined to happen. And holy shit. If Shinsuke Nakamura versus Austin Aries was kind of an unofficial number one contendership match, then next TakeOver, Brooklyn, Nakamura versus Samoa Joe for the title.
I am all.
So- Let that one sink in.
Did you know? But hang on, Ollie. I know this might hurt you, but we're going to an NXT house show, Russ. Like, something like that could happen. Like, we could easily. I mean, haven't like Finn and Nakamura attacked before, so we get like Finn and Nakamura versus Samoa Joe and Austin Aries, or just.
Well, they were doing those two versus Samoa Joe and the Drifter, so I think it'll be better.
Oh man, come on, that just ruins it.
Well, no, at least if the Drifter's wrestling, it'll give me someone to throw stuff at.
It's alright, he's injured, isn't he? He's fucked his ankle.
Yeah, I don't think they'll be. I don't think.
Good.
Well, on that note, I think that's we'll do it for us for tonight's podcast episode. Chelsea, where can people catch you?
Fight Chelsea Fight on Twitter as always.
Russ?
At Ross Boynton.
And if you want to catch us, you can email us at outofnowherepodcast@gmail.com. You can tweet us at outofnowherepod. You can catch us on YouTube at Out of Nowhere Podcast. You can visit our main site, which is www.outoflies.net, which also has everything from TVs, movies, video games. You name it, it's on there from lots of different opinions and lots of other different podcasts, like the Out of Lies podcast, Out of the Crossfire, Out of Thrones. If you're a fan of Game of Thrones, do check out that podcast. And just this week, after a rather successful stream that me and Chelsea did of Left 4 Dead at the weekend, we've now got an Out of Nowhere Pod Twitch stream feed. So if you like video games, like wrestling, then come watch myself, Chelsea, Russ, Mike, and the others as we stream. Because fuck it, why not? We all like video games here. So
Basically, if you want to hear Ollie scream like a girl when a tank comes running after him, you need to tune in because it's the most fun ever.
So yeah, it's Left 4 Dead 2. We do play it, we love it, and I get a little too emotionally involved, shall we say?
I think that's under exaggerating. I think.
I might also start a fresh 2K16 career mode through the Twitch stream as well, so keep heads up for that.
So yeah, check us out on Twitch, and you can we'll talk wrestling and play games. What could you ask for? So yeah, once again, that'll do it for us, guys. So thanks for listening, and see you next time.